If this image is saying something old, new, or confusing, I'm talking to you. I'm specifically talking to the people who think they are discovering something with this, because this ain't new. This is one of the oldest ideas human beings ever produced. Find a difference, use the difference to justify superiority. That's the move. The difference changes, the move stays the same. What makes this version interesting is that it arrives wearing biology, embryology, genetics, scientific language, scientific imagery. Yet the destination is still superiority, still hierarchy, still the organization of human significance through rank. That should raise a question. If the biology is real, why is superiority the destination? Why not function? Why not collaboration? Why not contribution? Why does it keep ending with someone above someone else? Because the biology ain't driving the conclusion. The human being's tendency of using difference to justify superiority is driving the conclusion. The biology is simply being recruited into it. That's the part that interests me, because women have spent generations identifying the limitations of gendered expressions of dominance and supremacy. Women have spent generations identifying the limitations of organizing human significance through hierarchy. Women have spent generations identifying the limitations of male-dominated culture. So why imitate it? Why reproduce it? Why validate it? Why use biology to arrive at the exact same destination? Because that's what is happening here. This ain't an interruption of framework. This is an imitation of it. The biology changes. The conclusion stays the same. The evidence changes, the destination stays the same. The person occupying the top position changes. The framework stays the same, and that matters because the framework itself is unstable. Not men. The framework, the practice of organizing human significance through superiority is unstable. The practice of organizing human significance through hierarchy is unstable. The practice of organizing human significance through dominance and supremacy is unstable. So what happens when you imitate it? You reproduce the instability. And the moment you reproduce the instability, something predictable happens. Men look at the reflection and say, see, women are emotional. See, women are irrational. See, women are unstable. What they fail to recognize is that they are looking at a reflection. A reflection ain't the opposite. It is yourself returned to yourself. The instability did not suddenly appear because women started talking. The instability was already present in the framework. The imitation simply made it visible. Yet human beings have a habit of forgetting what they create. They forget what they participate in. They forget what they reproduce. So instead of recognizing themselves in the reflection, they point at the reflection and call it the problem. This is where women make their own mistake, because if you spend years identifying the limitations of an unstable framework, then choose to imitate it, you don't get to pretend the instability disappeared simply because you reverse the direction. You don't get to imitate an unstable framework and then become shocked when people recognize the instability. You don't get to reproduce the logic and then act surprised when the consequences appear, because reversing a hierarchy ain't the same thing as interrupting one. Reversing a superiority claim is not the same thing as abandoning superiority. Reversing dominance and supremacy ain't the same thing as leaving dominance and supremacy behind. You have not stepped outside the framework. You have repositioned yourself inside it. And by repositioning yourself inside it, you validate it. You affirm its logic. You affirm its rules. You affirm its method of organizing reality. You affirm hierarchy as the model. You affirm superiority as the goal. You affirm rank as the measure of significance. And that's the part I find most interesting. Not the biology, not the embryology, not the chromosomes, not the imagery, the imitation. Because if male-dominated culture is ineffective, why is it still your reference point? If the framework is unstable, why are you reproducing it? If the logic is flawed, why are you validating it? Why are you using the same architecture and expecting a different outcome? And before somebody runs to the comments talking about woman is the universe, the womb is the universe, woman is creation, woman is the portal, sit with yourself first. over comprehend what I am saying. Because if your response to this is to bring me another superiority claim dressed in sacred language, you are demonstrating the exact same pattern I am describing. That is a different conversation. I can address that one too. Yet do not confuse reverence with hierarchy. Do not confuse function with rank. Do not confuse source with superiority, because the moment you do, you're right back inside the same logic. That is the question. Not whether women are superior, not whether men are inferior. Why do human beings keep encountering a difference and turning it into a hierarchy? Why do human beings keep encountering a contribution and turning it into rank? Why do human beings keep encountering a function and turning it into superiority? Because until that habit is examined, the assignment changes, the gender changes, the category changes, the language changes, the imagery changes, yet the framework stays exactly the same.